Hello, Jagriti, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we will wait for a couple of minutes to see whether others will join or not. Then we can start the session maybe in another 5 minutes.
Okay, sir.
Oh, hello, check. Hello. Okay, so we can start now. I will first begin by introducing myself. I am the TA for this course, and this course, as you all know already, that this has been taken by Professor Pradesh Kumar Dubey from IIT Kharagpur, and the course is Introduction to Environmental Engineering and Sciences. So basically, as a part of this program, especially these live sessions, what we are going to do is that whatever assignments that you have been provided beforehand, we will be discussing those particular solutions, any doubts that you might be having regarding those questions that you have been provided. We will be discussing that, and apart from that, any other points or queries that you might be having with respect to this course, we can go through that as well. So as of now, I can see that Jagriti is there and Ram is there. So you guys can introduce yourself to start with. Jagriti, you can introduce yourself from where you are, what is your academic background, and things like that.
Good evening, sir. Sir, my name is Jagriti. I'm from Rajasthan. Currently, I'm studying in Thapar University, Patiala. I'm pursuing biotech I'm doing BTech in biotech
Okay,
and
okay,
doing
great.
extra course, this extra course as my to gain some knowledge about environment and what are the ways to
Okay,
matlab,
fine, great. So you have any thoughts? Okay, so Ram just left us. Okay, so you have any thoughts on what you are going to do after completing your bachelor's?
right now my thoughts are I have to do my MTech after doing my BTech. But first, I think I will be doing a job for 1 to 2 years. Then I will be
Okay,
pursuing MTech. But it can be that I will be doing MBA. But I'm not right now 100% sure that I will be doing MTech or MBA.
okay, fine. So you're figuring things out. Great.
Yeah,
So, like, since you are the only one as of now here, do you have as such any doubts? I think you have been provided with one assignment, which is assignment zero, week zero assignment you
yeah.
must have. So, in that
I've
regard, do you
actually I've submitted that assignment. I didn't find any problem in that, but I have one question in assignment two.
in assignment two?
Yeah, week one.
Okay, so how we are going to proceed is that like since people who are going to expect some questions or queries for week two, we will be addressing it in that particular week. For example, week zero has already been over, and now I am going to
Yes.
address those questions. So similarly, once week two duration gets over, that deadline, after that we will be discussing week two. But sir, still you can ask in general, like what was the doubt? Like this is how we are going to proceed.
It was regarding that total TSS one. Actually, I don't know the question. Let me please open that.
Okay, let me check. Week two assignment.
Week one.
It was something regarding TSS, right?
Yes. It was that in purification, what are that match the following one.
So in week one, though, I couldn't find anything regarding TSS. Let me see if week two it is somewhere there. Or otherwise, what we can do is that you can just write it down somewhere, whatever queries you might have be having, and we can get it clarified during that time after week two live session, whatever we will be having. During that time, we
Okay,
can
okay.
clarify that. Otherwise, apart from that, are you having any doubts, any queries, or anything as such?
No, no, no. Apart from that, no.
Okay, fine. And all the answers and solutions I think you already have for week 0 assignment, and I don't think there is any
Yes.
problem with that.
No, no.
Okay, so there is one particular question on week 0 that I would like to highlight here. I think you might be having the here. Like, what is question number 12 in week 0 assignment that you have got?
Let me please open it. Week zero.
I think, is it regarding e-vehicles?
I'm sorry, I don't remember the question right now.
Okay, so let me just repeat this question. The question
I'm just.
was, okay, so that's not an issue. I will just uh, dictate the question. The question was a simple true and false question, like, will e-vehicles increase environmental pollution or not? So, what was the answer, do you think, or you might have given to this particular question? Will e-vehicles increase environmental pollution or not? Their introduction into the environment.
Mm,
So mostly, I think most of us have a answer that e-vehicles are more environment friendly. Like, this is what we associate whenever we are thinking about e-vehicles.
yes, yes.
And you must have also answered in similar lines only. It was a true and false question. So whatever.
Actually, I think I might be doing it false as e-vehicles uses energy
Hmm.
that also affect the environment, and that energy that is made from various procedures that also affect the environment and also uses environment natural resources. So it might be that vehicles is not
Yeah,
good for
exactly.
environment.
Like, you got the point. Exactly that. So whenever we are saying that, mostly whenever we say our industries, like, they advertise it, they mostly say that e-vehicles is a very green option, but there is a terms and conditions applied to it. Like, for example, like, these are the few points that we have been taught while we did our masters, and I am doing my PhD as of now. Like, one of those is that whenever we are using e-vehicles, so one thing that we can understand is that as the more and more e-vehicles get introduced into the environment, there will be a subsequent rise in electricity or power consumption as well. So,
Hmm.
although we are quite sure that, or not quite sure, we are absolutely sure that there will be no exhaust emissions. So, exhaust emissions are like point emissions from those places. So, in that respect, we are not going to have an environmental impact. But a big concern will be like when there is a such a huge surge in power demand. Okay. Okay, so when there is a huge surge in power demand, in those cases, what will happen, like a country like India, where about 60% or more than that of the power is being derived from coal-fired power plants. So, in those aspects, coal-fired power plants are also associated with huge SOx, NOx emissions, CO2 emissions, all those things like that. So, that is another question mark that we need to address. Like, when we are addressing this e-vehicles or introducing it, we have to make sure that we are at the same time reducing our dependency on such fossil sources for energy, because they are having subsequent increase in other pollutants getting like emitted into the atmosphere. One thing is that, and another thing that you pointed out rightly was the mining of those lithium ion materials for lithium ion batteries and various components. So those two were the things. So I can see we have two more attendees with us. I will just introduce myself briefly again. I am the TA who has been assigned to this course of Introduction to Environmental Engineering and Sciences, and I am doing my PhD from IIT Kharagpur. This is in my academic background, with my specialization is in environmental engineering and management. So how we are going to proceed is that during this live sessions that will be taken by me, we will be discussing particularly about the assignments that the students or attendees of this course have been given beforehand, and whatever doubts or few queries that they might be having regarding those assignment questions, we will be answering those or addressing those points during these live sessions. So apart from this, anyone is having any queries, any points? I can see that we have Satij with us. Satij, am I audible?
Good evening, sir. Good evening. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we had an introduction, like Jagriti is here and few others were just logging in and then why not? So we introduced ourselves. Can you just briefly introduce yourself so that we might be knowing from what academic backgrounds we are working with?
Actually, sir, I'm my basic qualification. I'm technologist degree in production engineering. Plus, I
Industrial,
did the advanced.
is it industrial engineering and production?
No, it's engineering, production engineering plus
Okay,
advanced diploma industrial sector.
fine.
Plus, I'm MTing HSC from University of Petroleum, Dehradun.
UPES Petroleum and that college?
Correct, correct, sir, correct.
Okay,
And also, I'm also planning to do a PhD, but I'm taking the subject of the sustainability because as I'm, my experience is approximately like 21, 22 years.
okay,
So my entire career with the oil and gas field, with the ONGC, Schlumberger, Kuwait
okay,
Petroleum, Weatherford, Worley. So, and what I observed here that yes, as a safety professional, it's our responsibility to ensuring that the further businesses comes under the sustainability. So, to getting a more idea, clarity on the sustainability, that's why what I love for this course.
okay, great. So we can also get to learn a lot from you during this sessions whenever you are joining these. It was like a great opportunity to have you here with us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Welcome. And we have Sani as well. So can you introduce yourself as Sani?
Yes, sir. This is good evenings, first of all, to all of you.
Yeah, good evening.
This is Suman Sani from Chandigarh Group of Colleges, Janjeri campus, Mohali, and I am also thinking of starting my PhD. So yet it is under process, and this time I will give my entrance test of PhD, and I am thinking of this topic only. So I want to explore my more knowledge on this topic, and even our colleges has also asked her to join this NPTEL courses, and so that we can explore the things to our students also. And
Okay.
yeah, we have mostly we have joined our students also in these courses.
Okay, so you are a faculty in the college.
Yeah, I am faculty here in assistant professor chemistry here in
Okay, okay.
CGC Chandigarh College.
Okay, so you must be then also, so you must be then from chemistry background itself, pure hardcore
Yeah,
chemistry.
I'm from. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Even I have taught environment science subject also, so I have
okay,
interest also in this. So
great. So we
it's
have
nice
a,
knowing.
like I saw that actually we had more than 1800 participants in this course. But
Mm-hmm.
what we heard is that mostly few of those, sometimes no one joins these live sessions. So at least what I can see here that we are very privileged to have so many, like you are here, Satiji is here, so we are having quite some knowledge bank here
Mm-hmm.
already with us. So we will be able to, whenever we get a chance, or we might be having any queries, any points, so we can discuss among ourselves and just get things going.
Sure, sure, sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
thank you so much.
welcome. So, are there any queries, any points that we or you might like to discuss, all of us who are there in this meeting from the week zero assignment? You might just, if you are having any problem with the mic, you can, whenever you are having any doubts or queries, you can just put it in the chat box. And me and Jagriti, we were just discussing about one of the points that we had, one of the questions in the previous assignment. that asked that whether e-vehicles are actually environment friendly or not. I think it was a true and false question. So we were just discussing about that, like saying e-vehicles is an environmental friendly option without looking comprehensively into the entire supply chain or anything like that. It might not be advisable, because what we just discussed is that in a country like India, where about 60% or more than that power is being derived from coal-fired power plants. So whenever more and more e-vehicles are getting introduced into the market, we are anyway seeing a surge in power demand. So if we are not shifting towards the renewables, at the same time, the coal-fired power plants will also burn more coal, and as a result, they have their own NOx and SOx emissions. So just simply saying that introduce e-vehicles into the market and it will be environment friendly, doesn't solve anything. We have to also address that we have to get away from coal-fired power plants, so that at the same time we are reducing the NOx, SOx emissions from there, even CO2 emissions from there, and going towards the like solar energy, wind energy, things like that. And another point that Jagriti mentioned was that in e-vehicles we have various metals, precious earth metals there, so they are also being mined from various parts of the globe, which also have this significant environmental impact. So Professor Dubey, who teaches this course, he often uses a term where he says that whenever we are addressing any problem, we should be very careful to see that we are not shifting the problem, rather we should be addressing that problem. So in this e-vehicle regard, often what happens is that we just shift the problem from the e-vehicles to some other power plants or maybe those mining areas. So that is what we often see with e-vehicles. So that is one point that I wanted to highlight in this session. And I will go quickly through other questions and see if there is anything else that might be interesting. Mm, Yeah, we had another question where the question was that it was a true and false again. It was whether biogas is a non-renewable source of energy or renewable. So maybe Jagriti, Sainiji, or Satyajji, if you can just let me know what you might be thinking on this. Like biogas is a renewable or non-renewable source of energy. So the answer for this is false. It is a non-renewable source of energy. This is a false statement. It is a renewable source of energy, and the reason being is that biomass is continuously getting generated every day. It goes back to the soil, and that entire food chain and food cycle, it goes again and again. So that is how biogas, which is derived from various biomasses, so that is why it is termed as a renewable source of energy and not a non-renewable source. So this was one question, and another one, I will now start with the beginning. The first question was that environmental studies is multidisciplinary academic field which studies, then it was a fill in the blanks with the environment. Now have given various options. Option A was human interaction, then demography, then waste management, and finally all of the above. So I will just share my screen so that you can see the solutions for that. Wait, fine, so it is not here. Okay, I will just dictate it. So basically, the environmental studies is a multidisciplinary academic field which addresses human interaction with the environment. That was the correct answer. In this, in the second question, we had the study of interaction between living and non-living components of the environment is called. So four options were given: environmental pollution, ecosystem, human population, and geography. In here, the correct answer was ecosystem, which is the interaction between living and non-living components of the environment. Anshul, can you please mute? Okay. Then the third question was the development in which meeting the present generation needs without compromising the future development is called. So we had the options. Option A, sustainable development; B, integrated development; C was circular economy; and D, none of the above. So as you might have already gone through it, the answer was sustainable development, which means that we will be fulfilling the needs of the present population without compromising the needs of the future generation and keeping resources so that they might be using it as well. Then question 4 was, which of the following is a natural source of environmental pollution? Option A was deforestation, B was crop burning, C was rainwater harvesting, and D was volcanic eruptions. So its answer was obviously option D, volcanic eruption, due to various toxic gases that are being released whenever there is a eruption in a volcano. And after that, fifth question was the full form of US EPA. So US, we all know, and United States, and EPA is Environmental Protection Agency. Followed by question number 6, where they had asked for the factors which are responsible for global warming, and the options were population growth, deforestation, burning of fossil fuels, and then option D, all of the above. So the D option was the correct, all of the above. Then we had question number 7, which one can be an effective solution to control organic solid waste? And the options we had was feeding to cattle, composting, dumping, and all of the above. So in here, the best option was composting. Then question number 8 was, which one is a point source of water pollution? And the options were deforestation, industrial discharge, acid rain, and agricultural activity. Since industrial discharge is the correct option here because they discharge their water into various water bodies through a pipeline, so there is basically a point discharge, a point source. So that is why industrial discharge was the correct answer. Then after that, what is the major source of air pollution that causes eye irritation during winter season? In here we had the options of carbon monoxide, ozone, nitrogen oxides, or all of the above. In here the option B was correct, which is ozone. Then question number 10, what is the effective way of removing pathogenic microorganisms from water? In here we had the options filtration, disinfection, sedimentation, reverse osmosis. So among them, as you can see, understand clearly from the name, disinfection was the correct answer, followed by question 11, where wind energy is a source of renewable energy, whether it is true or false. So the correct answer was, it is true that wind energy is the source of renewable energy, followed by question number 12, will e-vehicles increase environmental pollution? It should not be will, it is rather a statement where we are trying to say e-vehicles increases environmental pollution. So if everything goes well, we are shifting towards renewable energy, then the answer is false, because in those aspects, this e-vehicle wouldn't increase the environmental pollution. Then question number 13 is, migration is one of the factors affecting population growth. Is it true or false? Of course, it is a true. Is global warming responsible for an increase in sea level? Absolutely. The answer was again a true and false question it was, and the answer is true. And then biogas, as I have already discussed, is a renewable or non-renewable source of energy. So in here also it is a renewable source of energy. So by stating that it is a non-renewable, the answer would be false. So these were the questions that we had, and we, as of the requirements for this particular live session, we have gone through or revealed answers for all these questions. So in case if you have any doubt, you can ask. So one thing I would like to discuss is that, like there, one question that we had was that how to remove pathogenic microorganisms from water. So if we look at it in terms of drinking water treatment, then do we have any idea like what should be the flow of drinking water treatment as such? Like for example, if we are taking the water source from any river, maybe Ganges, as this is the biggest river in India. Anyone who might volunteer so that we can discuss the chronology of how different water treatment methods we often use for treating drinking water.
Chlorination method, sir?
Chlorination, not just I'm not talking just disinfection, like absolutely from the start. Because in one of my interviews during PhD, I got this question from the panel, like if you are getting water, like I am assigned to bring a water from any river or any other water body. So how will I start with the treatment process? Right away, starting from the screens that we put at the collection point, and then straight to the end, that is chlorination unit. So would like this is a very free and frank discussion platform. We can just
Sir, can you explain breakpoint chlorination is there in water treatment?
yeah,
Breakpoint
breakpoint
chlorination.
chlorination, as far as I think I can remember, the breakpoint chlorination is the chlorination after which whatever chlorine that we are adding, it is appearing as such in the water. Like whatever dose we are adding, this is the extra dose that is appearing, because that is how we determine the point breakpoint. Up to that breakpoint chlorination, whatever the chlorine demand due to disinfection and various other consuming other particles, sorry, compounds that are there, which often form that we might have been listening or hearing, like those NHCl3, NHCl2. These compounds are formed, and apart from that, the disinfection requirements of chlorine, whatever that is, the point where the chlorine dose, it meets all these requirements, and after that, whatever extra we are adding, it is appearing as such into the water stream. That is the point which is break point chlorination.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So, and regarding this particular point that I just rose, that this water treatment, how does this go? So I received once a question from the panel that how should I, like I have river Ganges with me and I want to bring the water from there to my campus, and how am I going to treat that water? So we hear about various like processes or various chambers like sedimentation tank. We hear disinfection, coagulation, screens. So it was like that. So I will just share my screen and try to present the chronology of how the disinfection works, and you might put your views on that. So I hope that it is visible. So whenever I have a stream, like in here, I am in Kharagpur presently, it is in West Bengal. So in West Bengal, the biggest river that flows through here and the most prominent in the entire in our country as well, River Ganga. So as you might be hearing often that these rivers today, they are absolutely getting more and more polluted day by day. Although the presently we are seeing increasing attention towards their cleanup and all in Varanasi, Haridwar, and all those places, but still we are seeing like quite higher levels of pollution in these water bodies. Moreover, in West Bengal, usually what happens whenever, like we have been hearing this from the childhood, that whenever a stream starts from a glacier like Ganga, from Gangotri it starts in there. When the stream starts, there is not much silt in it, not much like you hear suspended particles in it. But as it comes down, 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 and finally meets the Bay of Bengal, I am talking about River Ganga, it keeps on gathering more and more silt into it. So by the time it reaches West Bengal or Kolkata area in here, it has too much silt into it. So that is one major challenge that we face while designing the wastewater treatment plant. Although we already have our how to design such plants, it has been there from a long time back. but that is one of the biggest challenge, how to get rid of the huge silt that is present in the water. So the first thing that we do is that we make a pipe there. Like if this is the river, this one is the river, so we first collect the water. And whenever we are collecting the water, first thing is that there is a screen here and its face. Okay, so this is, the arrow went wrong. Here we find screens. These screens are provided, as you might be knowing, to prevent the entry of bigger particles, like bigger elements like logs. There must be plastic bags floating on other such big bodies. So to prevent their entry into the treatment system, we set the screens at the beginning of this pipe. From there, it is collected there in a small tank. From there, it straightaway away come to the this water treatment facility. In water treatment facility, I don't know whether this is a part of this course or not, but I am just discussing because we will be anyways talking about disinfection. So just giving an overview of this. So then we have, what we primarily have is a sedimentation tank. After that, we have a sedimentation tank, and then followed by a rapid mixing unit. So why we have this unit? The reason is that sedimentation tank will be settling most of the heavy particles which are present in the water body. But once they are removed, and that removal thing mechanism, it is being dictated mostly by Stokes law, as we are learning often, the settling speed, settling rate of those sediments. After that, we still have colloidal particles in the water bodies, and those colloidal particles, you keep them in the sedimentation tank for a very long time, yet they will not settle. They are very stable and they are always in the suspension. So in order to remove them, we go for chlorination, not chlorination, coagulation. And we add various coagulants, like most common is alum that we use in India. We already we have already heard about it in various classes. Maybe whoever are associated with this field, they might have heard about this. Like alum is something that we often use, or see our parents, they apply alum, our father, after shaving and all, because it coagulates the blood and stops it from flowing. So similarly, it also coagulates the various particles that are there in the water bodies, especially the colloidal levels. And whenever we add coagulant, we add it in a rapid mixing unit. So let's say rapid mixing unit. So this is a very small unit, and in here we usually uh, add the alum, and there is a rotor in here. It swiftly mixes it at a very high RPM, and the water passes through it with a residence time, like the bulk of water that stays here maybe for 30-45 seconds, like that. And as it gets mixed, from there it goes for coagulation. In the coagulation, we allow the water to stay there for quite some time so that it forms flocks and then settles. So then we have coagulation, and after coagulation, we can then go for this disinfection units like chlorination, or we can just simply say disinfection. So this is how we usually proceed. And then after disinfection, as and after disinfection, once we have reached the breakpoint chlorination dose, we allow some certain amount of chlorine to be present in the water, treated water, so that in case there is some contaminant or some pathogen that enters the pipelines, the residual chlorine, that certain amount, it will take care of that. So this is what disinfection. From there, we supply it to various pipelines across the network to our houses and various other units. So this was how the drinking water gets treated. Now, after drinking water, another thing is that we have water treatment, and then we have also got wastewater treatment. So I think that these will all be introduced to you in the due course of time, and like you guys might have attended the classes before. So can you just briefly tell me like which were the topics that have been discussed in this particular week zero? If you can also, if there's some problem with the mic, you can also write it in the chat box. The topics that have been discussed up until now. And in case you are having any doubts regarding the solution, I'm just repeating it again and again because we have Sanket here with us also. You can ask me. Okay, so we have got another interesting question here. Which one can be an effective solution to control organic solid waste? So the options were feeding to cattle, composting, dumping, and all of the above. So Jagriti, you just told you were from biochemistry background, right?
Actually, I'm from biotech background,
Biotech, okay. So
biotechnology.
okay, so I am not from that background. Mine is civil. So what might be your take on this? This is another interesting question that often, whenever we go to interview panels, they often ask us that there is a organic solid waste. It is having high organic content. So how should we treat
Okay.
it? Like in here, so they have given the option for composting, dumping, and feeding to cattle. Like what else are you being taught in the biotech courses? I'm just curious, so
Um,
that's why I was asking.
as we have environment subject in our second year, so on in that it was like that earthworm
Okay,
dumping that
vermicomposting.
we vermi composting,
Okay.
that then they produce energy that is used
Uh,
in
So you must
others.
be
So
using this various biochemistry terms also, no? Very frequently, like lignin content, hemicellulose,
yes,
cellulose,
yes,
these things.
yes.
Okay, so I once got a very interesting question. Like whenever we are saying that organic solid waste, so whenever we are asked that what organic solid waste exactly is, so I think that mostly we think that organic solid waste is anything that is like organic or natural in nature that can be decomposed very easily. It is hydrocarbon or maybe CHO, something
Mhm.
like that. So I was once asked a question that, for example, in here it is very simple: organic solid waste, composting, dumping, or feeding to cattle. So if a huge amount of organic solid waste is generated, we can of course go for composting. But the question was that what if we have a huge lignin content in that? Then what should we do? So have you been taught or have you discussed about something like this among your friends or classmates like that? The significance of
No,
lignin? Okay.
no,
So
no.
lignin is basically it is there in all the this roots,
Plant.
trees, everywhere you might anyways know this. So often we see that if I am strictly talking about organic waste, I have got particularly these lignocellulosic, lignin, cellulose, and hemicellulose. So among these three, the hardest one to degrade is lignin because they have a complex, I think, those aromatic structures and all. So that is why it is the most difficult to treat. Treat biologically. So in such cases, if we go for composting, then we have to be very careful that we are mixing the organic fraction in such a way that because like when composting, there's a very important ratio that we must keep in mind, that is C is to N ratio. Carbon content is to nitrogen content. Usually it lies between 20 to 25 is to 1. That is the optimum range. So if I am having too much carbon, like we have in C, this lignin, then the compost quality will not be that good, and its market value will also decrease. So these were some of the few things that we were asked, that if lignin content is high, then should you go for this organic treatment like composting and all, if it is very high. For example, in newspaper lignin content is absolutely very high because it is being anyways derived from trees only. So in those cases, if I am having organic waste with a considerable amount of newspaper, cardboard, and stuff. So in those cases, it is very tricky to straight away say that we can go for composting or any anaerobic digestion like that. Then we may have to explore other options like incineration and stuff like that, which can be more meaningful in those areas. So this is one area where often some confusion may arise, that if there is a huge lignin content, it is not that easy to degrade. So we have to make the decisions wisely. What is the temperature of that area? Whether we can actually degrade that lignin containing waste in a stipulated time or not. So this must be taken care of. So that was one point that I wanted to make. Then yeah, I think that will be all. If anyone has any doubt, they can ask it. Otherwise, that was the session.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Actually, I wanted to ask one question. It is not regarding the syllabus which we are studying. It is regarding, actually, I will be having my internships semester next semester will be my internship semester. So I wanted to ask you that, do you have any मतलब ऐसे कोई institute or research lab and in which gave internship in environment? So I'm very interested in doing that. So do you
Yeah,
have any suggestions regarding that?
like there are like you can apply in all IITs and NITs as well, wherever you are seeing कि आपके जो भी वहाँ पे लैब हैं, जो भी प्रोफेसर या फिर एरिया में आप इंटर्नशिप करना चाहते हैं, you can just find them from Google or their websites, and they actively, or most of the times I have seen that they take interns from various parts. And in fact, otherwise needy, you must have heard of NEERI. So that is another organization, CSIR lab, which is actively involved in all those environmental problems, managing them, treating various streams. वो हैं, then IITs में different professors are there all across India. You can contact them as well. आप अगर उनके पास अपने इंटरेस्ट को लेके जाएंगे कि in what area you want to work particularly in environment, or just something like that, any proposal from your side, or showing your interest in that, writing something in email वगैरह से, तो I think it's possible, but you have to just keep on contacting the relevant people and be in touch. काफी बार due to the busy schedule, they might not be straight away answering this. Then you might be required to keep on reminding them after a couple of days. So that is how it works.
Thank you, sir.
Hmm. Hello, Narendra. I am the TA for this course. Yeah, hello, Narendra. I am the TA for this course. If you have any doubt regarding whatever questions have been discussed in assignment 0, you can ask. Gayatri, I am the TA for this course on Environmental Science and Engineering, introduction to this course. So if you have any doubts regarding the week zero assignment, you can ask me here. So we will be having these live sessions every week where we will be mostly discussing about the topics in the assignments of the previous week and the solutions. So if you have any doubt, you can ask. You can also type the query in the chat box as well if you are having any problem with the mail. these live sessions every Tuesday from 6 to 8, as you must have been communicated. Please let your other friends and whosoever are joining this course or attending the classes share with them whatever doubts they might be having or you might be having during the assignments. You can share those queries, those things, whatever you have in your mind in the upcoming live sessions for that respective week or from whichever the assignment has been given the week below, previous week. So this will be all for today. Thank you.